City of Stevens Point Board of Public Works Committee meeting, recorded July 13, 2020.
So at 6 o'clock, I will call the
here.
Board of Public, Alder Nabel. I'm going to put you on mute again. She keeps unmuting herself. All right, so we're going to call the Board of Public Works meeting to order. And Trish, I would ask that you would please call the roll.
Sure. Mayor Wiesa.
Here.
Jeremy Slawinski.
Jeremy's going to be calling in. He messaged in the chat box that he is present and can hear us.
Okay. Mary Kneebone.
Here.
Corey Laddick.
Here.
Sean Morrow.
Here.
Tori Jennings.
Here.
And Makira Zarazua.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, great. Everybody is present, so we will move on to the agenda items. Number one is the director's report that was included in your packet. Director, did you want to touch on any of the highlights?
Yes, a few things. Probably the most important of which on the list there is the East Park Commerce Center. Just wanted to bring this about. It's been on the report for some time, and we talked about it at length, in the past. But just want to let everyone know that things are coming back around. With we're still talking with Meyer on some of the improvements needed for them in their plans, as well as then the actual East Park Commerce Center related to what would be future Badger Avenue. And other extensions there, EM COPS related at the moment with Lineage, his plans for additional expansion. So just want to let you know that although that project has kind of been sitting for a little while, it's definitely very active and continues to be, and we'll probably have some things out for bid and we'll see some things hopefully get constructed later this year. Then as far as the street improvement project and the road resurfacing project, just once again wanted to let everyone know that, contractor, it's Haas on both projects. They are ahead of schedule, on both projects. Construction seems to be going very, very well. The weather couldn't hardly be better. Conditions couldn't really be more favorable. So we continue to move along on there. It's really been difficult for us to keep up on communications with people simply because things are changing relative. So anyone that's here hoping to learn more about that, we definitely apologize. Times we try as hard as we can to coordinate with the contractor, but we want to keep things moving along. So we may send a letter out one day, and then the very next week we're sending out another letter basically saying, we've made some changes. So we like to think of that as being a good thing because it means that things will get done sooner. I think everyone's starting to see concrete form and get placed on Fremont. And that's usually a good sign that at the end is somewhere in sight. So and in reality, that's actually a pretty quick turnaround on a project of that size to be where they are at the moment. So that's all I had on the director's report.
Okay, did anyone have any questions for the director? I'm going through, we've got 2 pages of attendees, so please bear with me. I don't see anyone else with hands raised. Nothing in the chat.
Okay.
And okay, so I think we're good. I don't see any questions for the director. Wait, did somebody say something?
Yeah, Mayor, I know
there's
several people I see on the list from the Walter, Sandy, Windy Street area, and I know they had some questions for the director. I don't see them speaking up though, but I wanted to make sure they knew now's their opportunity.
Okay, do you have any names that you might be able to ask specifically, Alder?
I see.
Oh, there we go. I got a hand raised, so I'm going to unmute Rebecca Wisniewski. You're okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Director, Alder people. I'm just kind of speaking on behalf of some of the folks in our neighborhood. I had a neighbor reach out to me today who couldn't attend the meeting and asked if I would ask this question for her.
Rebecca, could you give us your full name, please?
Come back in.
Sure. Rebecca Wisniewski. And I live at 5425 Walter Street.
Thank you.
But one of the folks on the north side of the street who lives on South Maple Bluff Court was wondering about the maintenance of the bike path once it's completed. So like for us on the south side who have sidewalks, we are responsible for clearing those. Do you know what the status will be for the bike lane? Will the resident who has property on that side be responsible for clearing the bike path?
Excuse me, our general policy related to those sorts of issues, I won't say it's 100%, but what we will be following in this particular case is if it's concrete, it is the responsibility of the property owner, and asphalt, as this path would otherwise be, and the vast majority of our multi-use paths would be, the maintenance will be the city to take care of.
So just for clarification, Director, again, in this case, because it's going to be asphalt, the maintenance, plowing, that sort of thing would be the city's responsibility. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. It's an awful lot to ask a resident to take care of a wide path like that, and especially if the snow plowing and stuff isn't enough, the maintenance on an continuous asphalt path can be a lot. So we would just as soon be responsible for that to ensure that everything is in order.
Oh, thank you. And then the other question I had is in terms of updating on the status, because you are ahead of schedule and we kind of noticed things moved much faster in front of our property than we were expecting. Is there any place to just receive updates on the website? I looked around, I didn't see any, or is it just with written communication that you would send out via letter?
We do try to we do have an area on the website under the GIS tools there. We have an active map that we try to update. And I will be honest, the last couple of weeks, we have not done a good job because our GIS individual has been pulled in every which possible way. And that seems to be to meet all her other deadlines, seems to be the one thing that she has not been able to keep up to. I'm hoping that will change here very soon, and that we should see things start to show up there more frequently. And it would definitely be the place we'd like to send people to go and look for information. But I will admit it hasn't unfortunately been that way yet, but we are hoping to do that. So that is under the GIS stuff. It's one of the maps. It's an interactive map that we have with all the road construction, all of our city projects for the year.
Okay.
Perhaps a follow-up. This is Thomas Wisniewski. I'm Rebecca's husband. Is then, if there's anything specific or pertinent for immediate response, is the phone number then in the letters, the city engineer, the best person to contact?
Yes, by all means, yes. Just give us a call and we will answer your questions.
Okay, and then one final question from Rebecca. So in the initial letters that we received, the 4 phases of the project, it seems obvious to me, but I just want to get a clarification that all 4 phases are kind of going sequentially by type of work being done. So you're not completing phase 1 and moving to phase 2, you're streaming all 4 phases together. Is that how that's working?
Yes, the answer to that is yes and no, because we're working sequentially just because we don't want the contractor to get too far ahead of themselves until we have a road in place that can be driven over. So phase 1, which is Maple Bluff, is really actually just ready for paving. So that all it needs to do is be regraded at the end because it will get a little washed out and paved. So we're basically taking each section to completion, less the paving, and working from there, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. I yield, that's all I have.
Okay, is there anyone else who wishes to comment or maybe has a question?
Mayor Alder Nebone here again.
Yes.
I have a quick question for the director. It seems to me some time ago the state DOT was going to do some repair work on the approach. Was it Maple Bluff or Wildwood, or did I misunderstand that, or have they dropped that completely?
No, that is still very much the case. Maple Bluff there by Target will be done. I believe the last year they otherwise mentioned, those things seem to change periodically, is 22 when they will be redoing the Highway 10 bridge. They will also be doing that. So that's why our project actually starts just north of Target's driveway kind of an odd place really to start. And that's exactly why, because that's the transition from our project to what will be the DOT's project in the future.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I just got a text message I'm replying to right now with Alder Dalton, who was having some technical difficulties as well. So hopefully we'll be seeing her pretty soon. There we go. All right, I am going to go through the couple of pages one more time just to make sure everybody's good. And I don't see anybody else. So I think we can move on to the next agenda item, which is to accept ordinance amendments relating to section 9.05 regarding parking. Director, do you want to touch on that?
I certainly do. Just a few things here.
Wait, hang
first,
on. I'm
Yes.
going to ask, let's see. Joanne Powell asked, mailboxes replacement will be done upon completion of the projects. I guess, is that a yes or no?
And that is yes. Once we
Okay.
get to a certain point of completion, we will replace everybody's mailboxes.
Thank you. I just wanted to, okay, now we're back to item number 2, the parking.
Yes, there's, 3 different things, here essentially there. The first of which is the Heffron, boat landing that stretches streets there. We've continuously had some issues related to parking. We have tried to put in some other more subtle ways to ask people not to park in certain locations there. After most recently talking with Alder Fischler, it seems that it's time to step up to the next phase, which is to get ordinance in place so we can post it with no parking signs. So this would just be on the south side there, which just helps ensure that there is an open path for vehicles with trailers to access to the water. So so that's really what the first of them is. The second one is actually some things we found related to the old mall that kind of surprised us when we went back through the things that still existed on the books related to some no parking for some areas of loading zones and other access points for the mall in the past. And then lastly is with the creation of, or the addition of the residential parking permits in the university area, we did have those, if you might recall, for those that have been on the council for a while or been following that, a few reserved spots that had existed in there to allow an area for residents to park with the permit now in order then functioning, we no longer needed those spots reserved. So we just were cleaning that up as well. So that's what they are, unless anyone has any questions. Hopefully that summarizes them well.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the director regarding the ordinance amendments? Again, I'm going to go very slow. Take my time to make sure. Sometimes these get complicated. I don't see anyone. Nothing in the chat. So then I will ask committee members, what are your wishes?
I'll move to approve the ordinance amendment regarding parking.
And that was Alderperson Jennings. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Alderperson Morrow. Please identify yourselves when you speak, just a first name or Alder, whatever your name might have to be, just to make it easier for those maybe listening by phone. Please. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Committee members, please take yourselves off of audio, off of mute. And hang on one second. Alderman Slawinski, did you have a question? I am unable to unmute you. If you can hear me, you must have it muted on your phone. Hang on, let me try the other one. I think I saw your phone number on here somewhere. There. Alder Slawinski, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
There you go. Okay, so your phone was on mute. You're going to need to control that yourself, please. Just keep yourself on.
I never muted. I'm not muted anywhere on my phone.
No,
you just unmuted me and I couldn't talk.
Alderperson, I'm giving. What I'm saying is I'm giving you control because you're on a smartphone. You're not on your computer, so you will need to use your own mute button to mute yourself when you're not speaking. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
You. All right. So, did you have a question for the director regarding this ordinance?
No, I was just going to move, but it's already been done. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. So again, committee members, the motion is to approve the ordinance amendments as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Are there any opposed? Seeing none, that motion is adopted. Number 3 is to accept terminating garbage and recycling collection for multifamily commercial parcels. This dates back at least a couple of mayors ago, where there were somehow there were some agreements with commercial properties. First of all, the city's policy is that we do not pick up trash and recycling at commercial properties. However, turns out that we have been doing that for quite some time through various agreements through previous administrations. It's creating all sorts of problems, and was especially noticeable with COVID when we were having to adjust people's schedules. So what we're looking at doing is sending out a kind of a notice of termination of services to those commercial properties that are currently not in compliance with our existing policy. Director, do you have anything to add to that?
That's a, excuse me, that's a pretty good summation of what it is. And I think, yes, these last few months, kind of when, especially things were tight and we were, you know, really kind of looking at things, and we got had some issues otherwise come up, this otherwise complaint and issue otherwise happening, you know, we really need to look and kind of tighten up the belt. I know I did not realize, to the extent I haven't even gotten, I think, through the full list of how many properties would otherwise be this. It is actually quite large. Truly surprising to me. So I would like to your support to start, you know, looking at that list and start terminating some of these, because really we should not be providing them services. And I think even aside from the ordinance or not, it's not an equitable service that we're providing. Some are, some are not. And if we don't want to terminate service, I think the other option to do that is we need to look at the ordinance change and see how we become more inclusive to make sure that everybody that, you know, would be the same sort of entity would be given the same services.
Right, and that's what it is now. It's very haphazard across the board, and I'm doing my best to not point fingers at things that may have happened years ago and in previous administrations, because I don't know what those things were, but somehow they got made into the mix. And what we're looking at doing is trying to make it a little more equitable for everybody. Right now, the policy is no commercial properties. If the council or board wishes to explore that further, I suppose that's an option as well. Just know that it's going to be more labor intensive. Any comments there?
This is Alder Slowinski.
Okay, Alder Slowinski, and then we'll go to President Johnson.
And I agree. I think that we should treat all of our commercial businesses the same. Most of them are, such as like gas stations, such as that. They're already having their own garbage and recycling picked up privately. So with that, I would move to accept terminating garbage and recycling collection for multifamily commercial parcels.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Tori Jennings, I will second.
Seconded by Alder Jennings. Thank you. President Johnson, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just going to speak in support of this. In particular, I have a number of churches in my district, and about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, because churches were receiving, including the rectories or the parsonages, were receiving solid waste and recycling collection. They were cut off. And at that time, I thought it appropriate to no longer provide services to multifamily housing. Under Wisconsin's recycling law, multifamily is actually considered quite separate from any other residential. That's anything over 5. So I strongly support this in particular because all of those parsonages were cut off a long time ago. So this is fair. So thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to comment?
I have a comment, Mayor. Sean Morrow, District 11. Weren't all these places also paying for this service as well? No?
There was no additional payments for the services, no.
So they were being charged just as any single family home would be?
Well, we don't actually charge them. It's all included in the property tax payments, but yes.
Okay.
Any other comments? Nothing on page 2. Nothing in the chat room. I should point out too that the cover letter that we had talked about the meetings being held here at 933 Michigan Avenue. I am here and there is nobody from the public that is present, just kind of for the record there. So, all right, seeing no additional comments, I am going to call the question. All those in favor of the motion to accept terminating the garbage and recycling collection for all multifamily signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? Any opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Item number 4 is to approve the 2021 sidewalk replacement orders property list. Director?
This comes along every year. I guess for those of you that may others be new. So we are on a 5-year plan for sidewalk repair and replacement, which means that we inspect 1/5 of all the sidewalks approximately every year and identify those that don't meet predominantly the ADA compliant requirements. So we're looking for, cracks and heaves and, uplifts and settled sidewalks that would be difficult, in essence, for someone with a walker or a wheelchair to utilize the sidewalk. And we're marking those for repair. This is the list from this year. After going through the city, we've continued to try to get this list out sooner and sooner. From this list, these individual properties will be getting notice that repair needs to be done. They will have the option to take care of the repair on their own. And if they do not do that, then in the spring we will go back and then put together the final list, and we will hire a contractor, which is one of our projects every year, to make the repair for them. And then they will be assessed, for the repair costs. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, any questions for the director? And we go through this, as he said, every year. Last year there was a little bit of controversy on what did or did not get included. Now is your chance, without causing undue hardship on the construction teams. If there are some things that you think should be changed, now is the opportunity. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. I don't see any visual indicators of a comment, and nothing in the chat room. Committee members, what are your wishes?
Mayor Alder Kneebone here. I would move to approve the sidewalk replacement orders property list for 2021.
Okay, and is there a second?
Alder Morrow will second that.
Okay, good. For those who may get questions about it, we have this list, and Director, correct me if I'm wrong, but the individual residents can replace them on their own now, correct? Without a charge? Come spring, we're going to go through these lists again, and any that have not been replaced will get bid out on a contract. After that, it's too late. So if they have to be made to spec, which is 4 inches on a standard sidewalk, 6 inches on an apron. Is that correct, Director?
That is correct, yes.
So they have to be re-poured to city specifications, but you do have the ability to do it yourself if your friend is a contractor, or you know how to do it yourself and you can get it done cheaper. You are welcome to do that now, but come spring, when we go through that next time, it's too late to do anything. Okay, so any of the alders, if you get questions on that, that's the best response I can give you. So the motion is to approve the 2021 sidewalk replacement orders property list. I'm going to ask one more time for comments. Seeing none, committee members, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any opposed? And that is approved unanimously, and we are adjourned at 6:25. Up next is public protection.
City of Stevens Point Bicycle and Pedestrian Street Safety Commission, recorded December 10, 2019.